Simplify each expression. Use absolute value symbols when necessary. Write all your answers without negative exponents. Our expressions are getting a little bit more complicated. We have outside exponents, but we also notice here that inside we have variables that are the same. So let's do inside parentheses according to the order of operation first and simplify this. X to the second divided by x to the 1/2, we can subtract our exponents. If we have a common denominator of 4 over 2, that's the same thing as 2, then we can see that when we subtract this, we get x to the 3/2. Y to the 1/3 divided by y to the 3/2, we need a common denominator, which is 6. So we can multiply here by 3 and multiply here by 2. And so that gives us y to the 2/6 divided by y to the 9/6. And if we subtract that, we get y to the 7/6. This is all still being raised to the 1/2 power. And in our next expression, it will still be raised to the 2nd power. But look here, trying to subtract our exponents since the bases are the same when we're dividing. X to the negative 1/2. X to the negative 1, subtracting exponents. Negative 1/2 subtract negative 1 very carefully. That will work out to be x to the positive 1/2. And then in the denominator, since we again need common denominators for our fractional exponents, multiplying here by 3 and here by 4, we have 8/12 and 9/12. So if we want to subtract those exponents, since our bases are the same, we'll have y to the 1/12. Now let's try and take care of these outside exponents, raising a power to a power. X to the 3/2 raised to the 1/2 would be x to the 3/4 divided by y to the 7/6 times 1/2 would be y to the 7/12. X to the 1/2 raised to the 2nd power is x. Y to the 1/12 raised to the 2nd power is y to the 2/12. Now I didn't reduce that because I noticed here that y has a common denominator if I leave it that way, which would give us a y to the 9/12. Since we're multiplying, we can add our exponents since the base is the same. And in the numerator, we also need a common denominator, and x is the same thing as x raised to the 4 over 4, which is 1. So now that our bases are the same, we can add our exponents since our numerators are the same, and we get x to the 7/4. Now we don't want to leave our answer this way because this exponent is not reduced. 9/12 is the same thing as 3/4. So there's our expression, all nice and simplified.